Happy video day, guys. Christina, Brooke here. Today we're going to be doing a Make Up Your Mind. So we're doing the Make Up Your Mind on the brand new Pat McGrath release. So this is going to be called the Moonlit Seduction palette. It looks just like this, and it's going to be launching pretty soon on Pat McGrath's website. I believe it's the 22nd, and then there's going to be an early access. So I wanted to get my Make Up Your Mind out before it launches. So if you guys are new to Make Up Your Mind, what I do is I search through my collection to mimic a color story of an eyeshadow palette. So basically, I'm just trying to create the color story so I can get an idea of what it's gonna look like, so I can look at the colors, see if these are colors that I like to use together. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll play with different eye looks on my eyes just to kind of get an idea if this is something that I want to add to my collection. And then at the end of the video, I do an educated guess for myself on whether I should purchase the palette or not. So you guys like to do this sometimes at home as well. If you do decide to do a Make Up Your Mind, don't forget to tag me on Instagram at Christina Brooke Beauty with the palettes that you use. Let's go ahead and let's jump into the Make Up Your Mind right now. So first things first, I will show you guys the swatches. This is what I came up with. This is what the palette looks like. I feel like I was able to mimic it pretty decent, at least for I can get an idea of what this color story is actually gonna look like. I have a pretty good idea of what it looks like, and these palettes usually are not cheap. I think they're $125. I don't know, everything keeps going up. The other day I forgot that the minis of Natasha Denona are now $27. So did this go up? Is this $127? I don't even know anymore. They're expensive, okay? This is something that should be a thought process. We should be, analyzing these palettes and seeing if we really want to pick them up. So let me show you the palettes that I used, and there was quite a few of them, and this is just because I really want to get this idea. I used the Retro from Natasha Denona. I used the Glam from Natasha Denona. I used the Bronze Seduction from Pat McGrath. I got like one color from the Huda Beauty Rose Quartz, and we also jumped into Pat McGrath's Celestial, which one is this? Celestial Divinity. We jumped into Celestial Odyssey. And yes, I added it Divine Rose 1. There was one shade in here. I know that this is the palette that everybody is saying it looks very identical to, which is the first edition of her Divine Rose saga series that she keeps coming out with Divine Roses. So a lot of people said it looks very similar to this, and I was able to get one color. There may be two that are really close, but I got one for sure in this Make Up Your Mind to use. So yeah, let me go ahead and start it off. So for the first color, what I did was jump into Divine Rose 1, and I grabbed this last shade. This looks similar, so I'm expecting that it's gonna be a color similar to this with her beautiful special formula, but I think it's going to be a little bit more champagne than this one. So I don't think that this one's gonna be identical, but really in my collection, very hard to find a shade similar to this one that reminds me of that Pat McGrath formula. So I just decided to go with this. And I said, you know what? I think it's gonna be similar, maybe a little bit more champagne, but can we really tell on the lids? I probably won't. So for the next one, I jumped into the Glam Palette, and this is kind of interesting. It's kind of what made me started thinking, wow, this palette has similarities to the Glam. So I jumped into this color called Lash Line. So Lash Line is this beautiful, deep, almost grayish brown blending shade, which I kind of love. And I started to see an idea of like a cool tone palette that is a mixture between retro and glam. Like that is where my mind just went. It went like, whoa, that is what this is. It changed a little bit as I went on, but this was the moment that I said, oh, glam and retro, right? So then the next one I went into Huda Beauty, and I grabbed into the color called Gratitude, which is this color right up here. Now this is the color that I do believe there's something similar in Divine Rose 1, which I'll show you, which I don't know if it's going to be identical to this in the big palette, but there is this shade right up here that if you guys can see, they're kind of close, right? They're kind of close. But I ended up going with this one because I do believe it's going to have less purple. So if I grab this one, so this is the one coming from Huda Beauty, it has a little bit more of like a pinkier undertone, and I think that's where we're going with this palette. It's gonna have more of like that rosy, very dusky pink look, which I'm kind of in love with. So I mean, I really like those colors, so that kind of makes me obsessively, like I'm kind of obsessed right now. These three beginning shades, I love them. So I love the 3 beginning shades, definitely up my alley and very, very pretty. The next one I went into Bronze Seduction, and I was looking for a bronzy metallic, and I think this one's gonna look similar. It's probably gonna look close to this, maybe even just a little bit more gold. I hope not. I hope it stays cool. Just because I feel like if it does have this colorway, that's gonna be really pretty, right? That'll be really pretty. So I'm really liking this, and I'm hoping that it is like this because this looks really beautiful to me. For the next one, I went into this silver right here. So I think there's gonna be like a silvery metallic. I was looking at it and it looks like a silvery metallic. So if that is the case, we are going to have some type of really cool silver from Pat, which I think is really neat. So right now, this, doesn't that look kind of like a cool toned, I don't know, dream? I don't know, loving it. The next one went into this first shade here of Divinity. This is Divinity, right? I always forget. No, this is Odyssey. First shade here of Odyssey. And I feel, ow, my fingers got stuck. Ow! Oh my God, that clamped onto my hand. I jumped into this shade right here, and I think it's gonna look similar to this. It's gonna be a stronger shade than this one, but like Pat McGrath likes to do, she likes to keep them close in hue. She just changes it a little bit. So I think it's gonna be like this. Like they're gonna be almost the same, just this is gonna be like a deeper. I'm hoping it's not hot pink. It doesn't look hot pink in the picture. We are staying a little bit in the pinky side. I guess she couldn't get away from Divine Rose. You know, I wish this was, you know, a little bit different from Divine Roses, and maybe it was like a Moonlight Seduction with maybe something different like green. But no, we're still in the pinks. So then I jumped into this one right here. This one is Divinity. I jumped into this shade. This is the wild card. I don't know. I think it's gonna look something like this. It almost looks like it's like a purpley pink-ish shade. I don't know. But it looked like this one, and when I swatched it a few times, it kind of gave me like the same idea. So I'm thinking it's gonna be like that one. I think it's gonna be like that one. So that's where I ended up going with it. I like it. I think it's pretty. All right, so then we went back into Bronze Seduction, and I grabbed this pink right here. I feel like it's gonna look like this pink. I actually really love this pink from this palette, so that is actually a pretty color, but I think it's gonna have more pigment. The one that's inside of the Mothership 5, so this Bronze Seduction, I feel like it kind of like died with mine. Did anybody else have that? Like it kind of dried out a little bit and it's not as pigmented, but I think it's gonna look similar to that, just in a hopefully better, heavier formula. I think this is on purpose. She keeps putting gold in all her palettes, and I know a lot of people keep saying I'm tired of gold, and she keeps putting the gold in. So I feel like it's like her signature, and she doesn't care that we don't want to see gold. Because all her palettes have gold, you know, so we've got gold again, and I think it's gonna look like this gold. I don't know how many variations of this like yellowy gold we really can get, so I'm thinking it's gonna be gold, right? So like that, gold. I mean, in the swatch, it looks like that. I'm hoping it's more cool tone, okay? So if this is more of a cool tony champagne-y gold, I'll be really excited. But the swatch does not look that way. But, you know, Pat McGrath likes to put filters on her swatches and stuff, so your guess is as good as mine. I'm thinking it's going to be something like that, maybe a little cooler. All right, and finally, the last color I actually got from Retro. I know I mentioned Retro a lot and never pulled it out, but I got the color Glitz, and I think it's going to look similar to this. So it's going to be like a babyish pink. And Glitz has that really pretty babyish pink metallic. So there we go. That is what I came up with. This is what I think the palette is gonna look like, okay? So it's gonna be something similar to this, staring at it. All right, so what do I think? This is very confusing. Now, the reason I think that this is confusing for me is because, in my opinion, looking at Divine Rose 1, it is not that similar anymore to me because I do feel like it is going cooler. Divine Rose 1 did go in a rosy direction, but if anything, it leaned away from the roses the most because since it had like these purpley tones in it, I feel like my eyes didn't always go super pink, whereas I know Utopian Dream was not one of the Divine Roses, but it looked like one, right? So that one just went really pink all the time. This one, I feel like we're gonna have moments of pink, maybe even more than Divine Rose 1, because if you look at the blending shades, a lot of this is gonna go in more of like a pink, like more in like a cool tone pink direction. This deeper shade here is definitely gonna help to switch up the look so that we could do cool tone looks, like maybe a smoky eye, and then also to kind of deepen out outer V, but I don't even know, like, would I want to use this pink with this as a deepening shade? Huh. I'm having moments of, I'm not sure if I'm gonna love the way that these all work together or not. It's a very pretty color story, but I do like the coolness of it. I do like that there's some shades here that are gonna give me like that silvery look with the cool tone brown. So I'm liking that aspect of it. I also like that there's gonna be different looks that you can do. So you can use these colors with these. I don't really love this gold. I think that that was a waste. So there's parts of this palette that I really love, and there's parts of this palette that I am not sure. I actually think that the promo pictures are beautiful, and I love the promo pictures, but one thing I also keep noticing is there's a lot of metallic-y shades in this palette, so you're only getting 1, 2, 3 mattes? Is it only 3 mattes in this palette? At least that's what I gather. I gather that there's only 3 mattes. Cuban coffee thinking time. And make my brain work faster. I think it looks like it could actually be a pretty palette. I think if you have Divine Rose 1, it may be different enough. It may be different enough. There are some aspects of here that I don't really see in Divine Rose 1. Maybe they're just like both cool tone palettes. I could be wrong, but that's what it looks like to me. But I do think that this is gonna be like one of those, like, if you like this color story, awesome. If you don't like the color story, probably not worth it. For me, owning a few of her palettes, I do think that maybe it's not worth it, to be honest. Like, I don't think it is. But there's something about it that I like. So it's almost like I want to pick it up. I truly believe that this would have been a kind of like a greenish tone with browns palette. I would have jumped on it, bought it, and been like, yes. If it would have had any other colors besides pinks and rosy colors, I would have been so excited. Love the way it started, and then I just feel like it just did the same thing that I keep seeing in her palettes, which stays in like the pinkies and the purpley pinkies. And I really wanted to see something a little bit more creative, a little different. I do not think that this gave that to me. So I'm almost on the fence of saying I want to make up my mind and say I'm not picking this up, only because I want to put my foot down and be like, come on. Like, it's pretty up to here. And then why didn't it go in a different direction? Why didn't this have like hunter greens, and like, why didn't it like really change it up, stay in the cool tone arena and just like really blow our minds and be like, whoa, how did this happen? This is so beautiful. But I do feel like it stayed safe and it stayed to the Pat McGrath area of pinkies and rosies, and I love the name Moonlight Seduction. I almost feel like that should have given us a real nice smoky lid with some really cool colors, and I don't think it went there. I'm gonna make up my mind and say that for right now I'm not picking it up, but I will pick it up if you guys want me to. So if you guys want me to review this and try it and everything, leave me those comments down below and I'll pick it up for you guys. But for me personally, I just kind of feel like I wanted to see more, and I don't think I saw it. I actually think that overall I was almost going in the direction of mixing the Glam Palette with the Retro, which is a beautiful combination. You know, these two actually work beautifully together, and it actually was going in that direction that I thought, wow, this is a combination of Glam and Retro, right? But and then it kind of just like threw me for a loop towards the end, that it kind of just went to a little bit of repetitiveness of what I've seen in the past. So I really am not sure how much I really love this, or if those promos with all those glitteriness is like makes me want to buy it, you know? So anyways, that's where I'm leaving the Make Up Your Mind. You guys let me know down below, do you want me to pick this up or not? And I will pick it up if you guys want me to. But anyways, thanks so much for watching. I hope that this was helpful, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.